When you buy a stock, what are you actually getting? Most people think they're buying a number on a screen that might go up or down, but that's like saying when you buy a house, you're just buying wood and nails. The truth is more interesting, and understanding it completely changes how you invest. Today, we're breaking down the three things you actually own when you buy a stock. And by the end, you'll understand why Warren Buffett said he'd be perfectly happy if the stock market closed for 10 years. Let's start with the most obvious part. When you buy a stock, you're buying a piece of a real company, not a virtual piece, not a symbolic piece, an actual ownership stake in a business with employees, buildings, inventory, and customers. If you buy one share of Apple, you own a tiny fraction of every iPhone factory, every retail store, every patent, and every dollar in their bank account. You're not a customer anymore, you're an owner. This matters because it means stocks aren't just numbers on a screen. They're certificates of ownership in the productive capacity of the economy. Now, your one share doesn't give you much power. You're not going to walk into an Apple store and demand free products. But you do get voting rights. Every year, shareholders vote on major company decisions, from who sits on the board to executive compensation packages. Most individual investors don't exercise these votes, but institutional investors, the ones managing trillions in pension funds and index funds, do. And collectively, shareholders have the power to replace management, approve mergers, and set company direction. But here's where it gets interesting. Ownership isn't just about control. It's about access to future profits. The second thing you're buying is a claim on all future profits that company generates, forever. When Apple makes a profit, that money belongs to shareholders. The company can do two things with it. They can pay it out as dividends, putting cash directly in your account, or they can reinvest it back into the business, hopefully creating even more value. Both options benefit you as an owner. Let's say you buy stock in a company that earns $10 per share in profit each year. If they pay all of it as dividends, you get $10 annually for every share you own. Not bad. But if they reinvest that $10 wisely, maybe it grows the business and leads to $15 in profit next year. Now, your share of future profits just increased by 50%. This is why profitable companies with low dividend payments can still be excellent investments. They're compounding your ownership stake by plowing profits back into growth. Here's the key insight. The stock price today represents what investors collectively believe all those future profits are worth, discounted back to present value. If a company earns $5 per share today and investors expect that to grow 7% annually forever, the math says that stream of profits is worth significantly more than $5. That's why stocks trade at multiples of current earnings. You're not paying for today's profits, you're paying for the next 30 years of profits. But there's a third component most people completely miss. When you own stock, you have what's called a residual claim on company assets. Here's what that means. If the company goes bankrupt and gets liquidated, there's a pecking order for who gets paid. Employees get their wages first, then creditors and bondholders get their loans back, then preferred stockholders get their cut. Whatever's left over, the residual, belongs to common stockholders. That's you. Now, in most bankruptcies, there's nothing left. The residual is zero. That's why stocks are riskier than bonds. You're last in line. But here's the flip side. If the company thrives, there's no cap on your upside. Bondholders get their fixed interest payment and that's it. But as an equity owner, if the company's value grows from 1 billion to 100 billion, your stake grows proportionally. You have unlimited upside and limited downside. The most you can lose is your initial investment, but your potential gains are theoretically infinite. This is the fundamental risk-return trade-off of equity ownership. You accept the risk of being last in line in exchange for the potential of unlimited gains. And this brings us back to the Warren Buffett quote. Why would he be happy if the stock market closed for 10 years? Because the stock market and the stock are not the same thing. The stock is your ownership in a business. The stock market is just a place where people trade those ownerships back and forth, often based on emotion, speculation, and short-term thinking. And if you own shares in a great business that's growing profits year after year, why would you care if the market is closed? The business keeps operating. The profits keep growing. Your ownership stake keeps compounding. The only thing you lose is the ability to see the price fluctuate every day. And for most investors, that's actually a benefit because price volatility creates emotional decisions. When the market drops 20%, people panic and sell, even though the underlying businesses often haven't changed at all. When the market soars, people get euphoric and buy at inflated prices. The price is just what people are willing to pay today. The value is what the business is actually worth based on future cash flows. Sometimes price and value align, often they don't. This is why legendary investors like Buffett focus on business quality rather than stock price momentum. They're buying ownership stakes in productive assets, not lottery tickets. When you buy a stock, you're making a bet on the long-term productive capacity of a business, not on whether the price will be higher tomorrow. So what does this mean for how you should invest? First, it means you should think like an owner, not a trader. Would you buy this entire business if you could? If not, why are you buying a piece of it? Second, it means focus on the fundamentals. What matters is whether the company can generate increasing profits over time, not whether the stock price is up this week. Third, it means time horizon is everything. If you need your money next month, stocks are speculation. If you don't need it for 30 years, stocks are ownership in the economy's productive growth. And finally, it means diversification is crucial. Individual companies can fail, but a diversified portfolio of hundreds of companies gives you ownership in the entire economic engine. When you buy the S&P 500, you're not betting on 500 stock prices. You're buying a share of America's 500 largest profit-generating machines. So the next time someone asks what you're buying when you buy a stock, you'll know the answer. You're buying ownership in a real business, a claim on future profits, and a residual stake in productive assets, not a number on a screen. An actual piece of the economy. In the next video, we'll talk about how companies actually create value and why some businesses are worth 10 times more than others with similar revenues. And if this changed how you think about stocks, hit subscribe. We're building a complete investing education on YouTube, one concept at a time.